Sri Lanka's most powerful news brand.
Change will not come if you wait for some other person or if you wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. A very good morning to you and welcome to Newsline. Our topic of discussion today revolves around the rule of law in Sri Lanka, the role of the Attorney General's Department, and also the way forward. My guest this morning is quite an interesting character. He's an attorney at law. He was the Southern Provincial Council of the United National Party at one time. He was removed from the party and then he took over as the chairman of Lanka Coal Company. Again, he was removed and now he's the competent authority of Mineral Sands Corporation. And also he has a new party. He's the General Secretary of the United National Freedom Front. He is none other than Attorney-at-Law Maithri Gunaratne. A very good morning to you and welcome, Maithri. It's not a good introduction for sure. I'm not going to ask you why you were removed and why you have been so vocal about the government.
Introduction is devastating.
However, let's talk about your campaign ahead of the January 8th presidential polls 2015. We saw many individuals coming out and saying that the names of those who were corrupt will be revealed. There would be an anti-corruption drive, and that is the very foundation that this government was appointed. However, now things are looking bleak. 2017, start of the year, Sri Lanka slid back as far as the corruption perception index was concerned, 12 slots down. That means Sri Lanka is more corrupt than what we were in the year 2016. What is happening? What is going wrong?
Rasool, I think they have completely lost control with regard to corruption. And as the corruption index very clearly shows, corruption has increased. I feel and I can see corruption and mismanagement has increased during these 3 years. So, I may be only just agreeing with you, but well, that is a fact. And as you very correctly said, we campaigned to bring this government into power. We have sacrificed a lot on behalf of that. And when you said removed, all the removals were because we were, if I may put it this way, anti-establishment. Or when I was removed in the UNP, we were anti-Ranil Wickremesinghe at that time. We were wanting more democracy, we were wanting more transparency in the party, so we were removed. Then when you said I was removed from the coal company, the people will think, have a different, but I was removed because when they were trying to purchase the coal at $15 more, I stood against it. I was removed from that. So that was the reason there. So I saw the corruption which took place there. Now, for instance, 1 million tons of coal for 2017 was bought at $15 more than the market price. So you can just imagine the money which the country has lost. So that is that.
But who is making money at the end of the day? Is it United National Party or is it Sri Lanka Freedom Party? Because it's a marriage. So who's really making the money?
Well, Rasool, that's a difficult question. I don't want to pinpoint names without proper evidence.
No, but then you can't say that.
No, I'll come to that. The main guy responsible for that was the Secretary of the Ministry, right? The Technical Evaluation Committee recommended certain people, they disregarded them, they gave it to completely a different person at a higher price. So the tender board, right, where the Secretary of the Ministry was there and he was playing a major role. In fact, he intimidated me to keep away from all this. So it is he who will have to be answerable, and it is he who will be able to say whether it went to the UNP or the SLFP. But it is him who was responsible clearly, and it is not what I am saying. The Supreme Court, in a judgment which was pronounced by the then Chief Justice, Justice Sri Pawan, very clearly mentioned that the conduct of public officials have shocked the conscience of court. So that goes to speak for the amount of corruption, and the manner in which officials are functioning is very clearly borne out by that judgment.
So corruption and the rule of law works hand in hand.
Yes.
There has to be rule of law in order to arrest corruption in a country.
Yeah.
Do you think there is rule of law in Sri Lanka?
Rasool, I think there is a slight improvement, but I would say it's going up and down. It's depending on who is holding now. When Chief Justice Sri Pawan was the chief, there were certain judgments, and the courts were no respecters of persons. But now I don't know whether it's like that, because now you see what is happening is very strange. So I don't know the rule of law, whether it is getting strengthened is a question, with a question. But I must say that with the change of the regime, there was and with the new Chief Justice, that was Justice Sri Pawan, I felt that things were improving. But now again, I don't know whether I can say the same thing. I mean, I'm very sad to bring this bad news, but I can't see that happening that way as well, because I mean, I feel some courts, I mean, they don't want to give any order against the state. Or, I mean, when you take even this provincial this local government election, I mean, the talk is that, well, these are issues which some judges don't want, because I mean, I must tell you the very frank truth about this whole thing is, now Rasool, what happens is, judges will say in the High Court, he's the head judge in the High Court, awaiting promotion to the Court of Appeal, right? And then a case is filed in that court, which is against the government, or which a decision has to be given against the government, right? I mean, it is the government which appoints the High Court judge to the Court of Appeal, right? So my question is whether he is going to make a judgment risking his promotion.
But however, Maithri, we've seen things have happened. Davinder Silva's case, we saw things have expedited. We now see him behind bars for a crime that he committed. So things are happening.
No, that's what I said. I mean, there was an improvement. But again, I mean, now I don't know whether it has slowly taken a dip. So it is interesting to see. And what I explained to you is, these are instances. Now, for instance, we'll say there is a judge in the Court of Appeal who's awaiting promotion to the Supreme Court. I mean, all of these people are in expectation. They have aspirations. I mean, when you become a judge, you want to get to the Supreme Court. When you get to the Supreme Court, you want to become the Chief Justice. So these are legitimate aspirations of people. So what I'm saying is, when you're there, and when there is a decision you have to make, and against the appointing authority, whether you're going to make it is the issue.
Maithri, one of the criticisms leveled at the Attorney General's Department is the fact that they're too slow. They can't file even a proper indictment. We saw this happening with the Avant-Garde case. They bring in an indictment and that has been quashed, saying that the indictments have not been filed properly. Basil Rajapaksa's case, same thing happens. However, in certain instances, they do it right. Do you think that there is some sort of political interference within the Attorney General's Department?
I of course feel yes. This Attorney General, I mean, I know him. We expect a lot from him, but he is an absolute disappointment. Absolute disappointment. And I mean, the department, even the conduct of some of the officials in the department are appalling. Senior people. I'm not talking of the junior people, right? And I mean, if the senior ASG, DSG, ASG is Assistant Solicitor General or Additional Solicitor General, DSG is Deputy Solicitor. If at that level they are playing politics, right? And if that level they are intellectually dishonest, what do you do? What do you do? I mean, I don't want to mention names here, but I have brought it up in the Supreme Court in a case where a senior official in the department has given various kinds of advice, which is completely different, right? And Rasool, now,
in a situation like that, what can the people do?
Well, Rasool, I mean, what can the people do? I mean, people will be helpless because now, for instance, now there is this coal case. If I may take that example, the Supreme Court decided that this was against all known laws and regulations, and it has shocked the conscience of court, and the officials have even misled the cabinet. Now, having given a decision like that about that tender, the Attorney General's department gives an opinion saying that they can go put it back to the cabinet and give it to the same person. So, I mean, what do you do?
Look, what's the point of all this? You know, you have a government that is appointed on the 8th of January, then you have a split government that is appointed on the 17th of August 2015, and then you're saying that the people can't do anything about it. Isn't that appalling? Isn't that sad?
No, it is sad, because when you appoint certain people with a hell of a lot of expectations, and when they have completely mishandled or they are totally ignorant of what is happening, or they pretend to be ignorant of what is happening, what does the citizen do? I mean, the citizen can only at a time of election choose and elect someone in the hope that he will make it better. But once they come in, if they pretend as if nothing has happened and go forward, what can you do? Now you brought up the question of corruption. Now, the whole corruption aspect of it was taken under the Prime Minister, and there was a special unit formed under him. The unit was closed about maybe 6 months or 8 months ago, right? So the FCID has become an absolute joke, right? I mean, so what do you expect? I mean, my reading of this is, Rasool, the Prime Minister is definitely having you scratch my back, I scratch your back policy. Because
so whose back is he scratching right now?
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa very clearly protected him and fostered him, and also wanted him to be the presidential candidate, which misfired. And at that time, the President Mahinda Rajapaksa protected the Prime Minister, Ranil Wickremesinghe. So now I feel that he is affording the same protection to the former President as Prime Minister, taking all the corruption matters under him, right? Because these corruption cases are not rocket science.
But the thing is, right now, Mr. Gunaratne, you see that there is incompetence plaguing as a cancer in the state sector. We see the FCID trying to go to Dubai and trying to nab some money, and then they spend the money of the Sri Lankan government, they spend money of the Sri Lankan people, they go overseas, they go to Dubai, so nothing happens, they come back again, and they go back again. But the thing is, at what cost? At what cost? Are they trying to deceive the public?
No, they are. They are. Because moment the CID or the FCID, even they look at in foreign investigation or a big investigation where money is abroad, I mean, they see a huge opportunity there. Where, I mean, to go abroad, do a bit of an investigation there. I mean, you can't get things done like that. It's difficult. So everyone is, having a free-for-all, basically. They are enjoying the whole process, right? And no one is serious about corruption, because, Rasool, now when you take corruption, criminal corruption, if it is against the state, right, all you have to do is you find clear evidence, file a B report, and say that this is the evidence against, and this is how it has happened, and ask the magistrates for a direction. You are 100% sure that the magistrate will give a direction. Okay, if that is so, you go and arrest it and produce him before court. I mean, that simple matters did not take place.
My point is, we know that there was corruption in the previous regime.
Yes.
And it's sad that 3 years down the line, nothing concrete has taken
now,
place.
for instance, Rasool, when about this coal matter, I went and told His Excellency the President, he said, you make a complaint, and which I made. I made a complaint to the CID, I made a complaint to the Bribery Commission. CID's complaint was investigated to a certain extent, and they said, no, it is not for us to do it, we send it to the bribery. It was sent to the bribery. 1 year ago, the complaint was made. No one knows what has happened to date. So the bribery department, I feel, has gone to sleep.
No, but now you being a lawyer, it's a bit shameful as well, you sitting here, you being a lawyer. You've not been able to make strides in this issue.
Well, I mean, I being a lawyer...
Because you were removed from Lanka Coal Company, and now you're the competent authority of Lanka Mineral Sands Corporation, and someone who's looking from the outside may think Maithri is also another individual who bows down to political pressure.
No, I mean, if that is, if I have given that impression, my apologies. But I mean, I'm a dwindling minority fighting against this whole system. I feel that's why at every turn when we are doing something, we face removal. I mean, I think even now, as competent authority, I'm facing imminent removal. For the simple reason is, I have increased production by 500%. I have saved 1 billion rupees for the company, and this is not making some people comfortable. So they don't want these places to do well. So I must say, if I have failed in my duties of fighting this, I'm sorry.
So
but certainly we are fighting it at every possible opportunity. In fact, Rasool, I'll tell you. I mean, when you bring this up, I have to tell the public, because otherwise I don't want to go with where they think that we are not doing anything. Have you ever heard of a competent authority, of a government organization filing a case against the secretary of the same ministry and preventing the secretary from interfering? I have done that, because the secretary was interfering in everything I was doing, and preventing me from even holding tenders. And for instance, for the last 6 months, we have not been able to sell 1 ton of sand, of minerals. Right? So I had to go to court, get a restraining order against him interfering. Court granted all restraining orders. So, well, we are fighting it, and they can't believe, right, that a chairman, competent authority has gone against the secretary of the ministry. I said, well, this is good governance, and good governance is, you also have to give good governance to us. As a company, we have the right to function on our own. You can't come and tell me what to do, but you can put all the checks and balances to see what is happening. But you can't come and tell me how I should run the company.
So now you've been removed from the UNP, you've been removed from the Lanka Coal Company, and next on the list is Mineral Sands Corporation.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I will not be surprised if I'm removed.
So next time I interview you, either on Newsline or Face the Nation, you probably would be only the General Secretary of your party.
Precisely.
We're now going for a short commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk about the rule of law in Sri Lanka. Do we really have it in place, or are we sliding back further? All this and more after this short commercial break. Stay connected, stay with Newsline. Welcome back. This is Newsline. A very good morning to you again, Maithri Gunaratne. I want to drag your attention to the MPs within the parliamentary chambers right now. You see individuals like Parliamentarian Sujiva Senasinghe, who backed the central bank former governor, saying that he did not do any mistake. However, right now, looking at what is appearing on the books, what is appearing as far as evidence is concerned, it's quite appalling. You had the former finance minister of Sri Lanka, the former foreign minister of Sri Lanka, Ravi Karunaika, being entangled in this whole process of taking money from an individual. And he says that he is not aware. It seems that the only thing that this government is unaware is, I don't know. I'm not aware. I don't know. Why did I do that? I don't know. It's my wife who's involved. I wrote a book because I felt it was the right thing to do. What is happening really?
Well, Rasool, to be very frank, all of them are trying to make money as if the government is going to end tomorrow. That's the long and short of it, right?
But all this cannot be done without direction.
And you mentioned only a few names: Ravi Karunaika, Sujiva Senasinghe.
Oh, I can name a lot of people.
But the fact of the matter is, it starts from the Prime Minister, right? Because he is the one who appointed Arjuna Mahendran, and when the first bond scam surfaced in the first 100 days. In the first 100 days, having promised good governance, having given the people of this country so much of hope, and I think you all blew the story out. Sirasa blew the story out, right? And it was a substantial story at that time. Then what they should have done, any right-thinking person should have done, is either got him to step down or fired him, right? Instead, they kept him, they defended him, they protected him. Right, and they wanted to keep him further. Fortunately, his term ended. His 2-year contract ended. if that contract did not end, I'm 100% sure he would have still been there. And it was at that time that the president stepped in, and although it was late, he appointed Mr. Kumarasamy, and I think he's doing a perfect job now. Right? So, although the president takes decisions a bit delayed, the decisions are considered, and it's a considered decision, it's a good decision. Right? But, I of course feel from the Prime Minister downwards. Now, for instance, now you were talking to the Attorney General's department. Prime Minister goes to the Commission, and he just makes a statement and he comes off. Right? Attorney General, why does the Attorney General have to go and lead his statement? Tappula Divile was there, Yasantha Kodavgadu was there. Why didn't they give him the same treatment they gave Ravi Karunanaike? Are some people above the law than the others? So these are the questions also when you talk about the conduct of the Attorney General's department. I feel in the good old days, when you say the AG, Attorney General, people had implicit faith in them. Well, now that is slowly dying.
Because you're hitting the nail right on the head, because we saw when Partha Fernando, who was appointed by the former president, was taking center stage as far as the Attorney General's department was concerned, people were criticizing him for not taking action and being very politically biased. And then you had Yuvanjana Vijaytilaka, who was appointed. And then there was talk saying that he was not doing enough again. And then there was a lot of hope on Jayanta Jayasuriya as the Attorney General, and people thought that things are going to move, everything is going to be expedited. However, still there is nothing happening.
No, nothing
concrete.
is happening. Nothing is happening. No, it's because I of course feel the present AG, I think he's due to retire very shortly. I think he's angling to get into the Supreme Court. So he's playing ball. So this is what has to stop. This is what has to stop. Right? I'm being very frank. I deal with this department. I deal with courts. These are going to cost me huge, hellishly. But Rasool, what has to be said has to be said. Right? If we go on, if these people are going to be intellectually dishonest because they are holding these positions on behalf of the people of this country, so they need to be honest and have people of integrity. And if they are acting in this manner, God help this country.
Now, you have individuals who have been appointed to positions that are very, very important as far as the state structure is concerned. You have people like Sagar Ratnayake heading the police department right now. You have individuals who are very connected to the Prime Minister, like Malik Samal Wickrama, who is heading...
It's a club. The club runs, there's a club which runs the country.
Absolutely. So, do you see that President Maithripala Sirisena intervening and taking over these positions and acting on behalf of the interest of the people? Do you see that happening?
It happens in sporadic outbursts, right? But it has to happen on a continuous basis, right? When things go wrong, when things have to be, there is no other way of, then the president intervenes, which is bad. The law and order ministry, you take the police today. The police is a law to themselves. You go to a police station, they don't listen to, at least during the previous regime, they were scared of the Rajapaksas. Now they are scared of no one. That is the sum total of the police today. You look at the IGP, his conduct. I was told that some senior DIGs have revolted against him. Right? Then he is openly following the instructions of the Minister of Law and Order, and he's involved in protecting various Nilamesh and various other guys. Right? Then you see him in the mornings he's meditating, in the evenings he's merrymaking.
But all this is a reactive approach. You appoint a constitutional council expecting you appoint the right person. So who is at fault? It's not the people, Maithri. It's definitely not the people.
No, the point is this: it is not the people. Now, when you appoint, we'll say the IGP, now he would have been chosen among 2 or 3 people. So you can imagine having chosen the guy, having appointed him. Now, if he thinks that this is the end of the world, or this is the place for him to do whatever he wants, that goes to show the caliber of people who are there. So what can the people do? People are getting a bad deal over and over again.
So why isn't the Constitutional Council, which appoints this individual in question, why is the National Police Commission, who has the authority over the IGP, not remove him. If he's doing a bad job, bring him in, summon him and say,
no,
okay.
that culture is not there, no, Rasool, in this country. That culture is not there. The hire and fire culture is not there. Unless, I mean, in Singapore, it became a success. Because whether you like it or not, they bought the hire and fire culture. So I feel in time to come, and even in government departments, there is no accountability. I mean, they make millions and billions of losses. No one has to pay for it. So who the hell cares? If you have some kind of policy now, if the audit bill is bought in, if this audit bill which has been spoken about so much is been bought in, then people are responsible. Now they don't want to bring that in. They don't, and if they are going to bring it in, they are trying to bring it in without making. It will not apply to the secretary of the ministry. So it's a joke. No, I mean, what are they trying to do?
Isn't it a sad state of affairs in Sri Lanka? Because when you first heard Tilak Marapana stepping down, you thought, okay, there's good governance, there's some sort of accountability that is taken. However, there's cabinet reshuffle. He comes in again. Isn't it a joke?
Now
It looks
people
like
are
a comedy
waiting.
of errors.
Now the people are waiting for Ravi Karunanaike to be appointed. Adding insult to injury, they are waiting for Ravi Karunanaike, and Ravi also is also waiting for him to be reappointed to the cabinet. So where do we go? No, the point is, Rasool. Now, for instance, people thought, okay, Prime Minister, Mr. Clean, he's a good administrator, he will bring the economy right. Total failure. Total failure. And now, for instance, we are a country burdened with debt, right? You take the tourism ministry. You take tourism. I think tourism is having an all-time low, being one of the safest countries in the world, right? So there is absolutely no promotion. So when you take all these, I think it is time for the president to step in and change the prime minister, change this whole setup, and go forward. Otherwise, his credibility is diminishing by the day.
Maithri, my final question to you is, during the last 13 years being a journalist, I've seen many political parties coming up, small political parties, big political parties. We saw a common candidate in the year 2010. There was the symbol of the swan. We see a lot of change as far as politics in Sri Lanka is concerned. And now I hear that you have your own political party as well, the United National Freedom Front. What makes you think that you will be any different from the others? I don't have confidence.
No, I don't blame you. I don't blame you, because the way everyone has acted, I mean, you don't, no one has confidence on any political party. But Rasool, what I was thinking is, we have, thanks to this president, he has brought in this new election system. That is the ward system, right? So, a person, a candidate, is responsible for a ward, and a ward is only 1,000 houses, right? So, I feel that this is a new system. We can get a new caliber of politician into the local government election, and with that, we will be able to change the provincial council, change the parliamentary system, the election process. So under this new system, it is not the party which matters, it is the individual. It is a personality-driven system. Now we'll say you come from Rajagiri or whatever that area. Now you will be contesting a ward which has 1,000 houses, 1,000 families, and you can contest. The UNP can send one candidate, the SLFP can send one candidate, but the people have a clear choice whether they are going to choose whether the SLFP candidate, the UNP candidate, or a new individual who is coming from a new political party or an independent group even. So, I mean, I also can wait cursing the darkness, but I don't want to do it.
I like your optimism. Do you think that there will be an election in February at least?
Yeah. 10th of February, I think the election will be.
I think, what does that mean?
No. In all probabilities, we have handed over, our party has handed over nominations for 15 local councils out of the 93 which has been declared, and we are hoping to hand over about another 50 to 75 for the 75 for the 243 which is going to be the nominations will be closing on the 21st. So we are in the process of doing it.
There are discussions. There are discussions between President Maithripala Sirisena and former President Mahinda Rajapaksa at the moment, and this is quite evident when you read the papers on a Sunday or even a Monday. Do you think that this marriage will work?
Well, I of course feel that there is not that there is no possibility of it working. I think, I mean, they have been together before.
Now my question is,
yeah.
if this marriage works,
Yeah.
hypothetically, where does it put individuals like you?
No, it makes us stronger. It makes us stronger because at least now we are not aligning ourselves with anyone. We are not aligning ourselves with Mr. Mahinda Rajapaksa, with the President. We are not aligning ourselves with the Prime Minister. So the disgruntled voter is the third force today.
The disgruntled voter is going to be the third force.
It is the third force today. So we are only offering an opportunity for them. If they feel that we are good, if they feel that we can make a change, if they feel that individual clean candidates must come into the system, well, we are only offering them an opportunity. If they want to reject it, if they want
Thank
to
you very much.
we'll end up going home. That's a different matter. But at least we have put the best foot forward. We have shown that we have come to try to change this system. If the people don't want it,
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Maithri Gunaratne, for joining us this evening. I'm not going to mention any of the posts he was removed. At least a little bit of optimism to end the show this morning. Thank you very much, General
Thanks,
Secretary of the International Freedom Front.
Thank you.
I leave you this morning with a quote, as I always like to do. The bedrock of democracy is the rule of law, and that means we have to have an independent judiciary, judges who can make decisions independent of the political winds that are blowing. Some food for thought. Do have a wonderful Thursday.